In this video, I'd like to talk about what ADHD can look like when you're good at your job and when you're successful in your field. And the reason I want to frame it that way is because I've seen a lot of videos talking about ADHD in the workplace, and they are mostly focused on the problems, the obstacles you need to overcome, and the struggle of having ADHD in the work life. And that's fair because the struggle is real. There are obstacles you might need to overcome. And you might need strategies to do this. And I've had a lot of jobs in the past where I struggled to make it work, where I didn't last very long. But now I'm in a place where I have a demanding job that I like, and I feel that I am quite good at what I do at work. And so I want to talk about it from that perspective, that it's actually possible to overcome and to thrive at work when you have ADHD. And to some degree, maybe because I have ADHD. So to talk about this, I first want to speak about something that occupies our thoughts and that we spend a lot of energy worrying about, and that is what other people see of my ADHD at work. And it's quite funny because when other people describe me at work, like colleagues or bosses that I've had from different workplaces, one of the most common things I hear is that people perceive me as calm and confident and organized. And that always surprises me because that's not the way I feel. I can understand that they perceive me in that way because that's how I project myself. But that's not the way I feel on the inside most of the time. To me, I'm quite messy and easily distracted, and I can struggle with deadlines. I usually meet them, so people don't notice. But I feel the struggle of meeting the deadlines, if you know what I mean. And over the years, I've come to the conclusion that many other people do as well when they are a bit older, is that people don't see my inner struggle. They don't see the things going on behind the scenes, so to speak. What people care about at work is that if you deliver, if you're helpful, if you are a nice person to them, they don't worry about what you are going through. Not because they don't care, just simply because we are all so occupied with our own struggles, our own problems, our own priorities and ambitions, and it can be family life or activities outside of work or problems at work. We all have so many things to occupy our own minds, the things that we are dealing with ourselves, that we don't really notice what's going on behind the scenes for other people. And that's a very liberating insight, I think, because it means that as long as I am delivering on what I'm supposed to do at work, as long as I'm nice to other people, as long as I'm helpful, then people will appreciate that, and they won't think twice about all the hidden things that are going on inside of my mind, all the things that I'm struggling with to deliver on this. So if I can find my own way of doing things that work for me, that help me deliver on what I need to deliver on, then that's fine for everybody. People don't care if I need to do things a different way because I have ADHD. People only care about what they see, the deliveries. So what do I need to do differently because of my ADHD to be successful at work? Well, first of all, I need external structures. I have a poor working memory. I can't keep a million things in my memory at the same time. I need to write things down, and I need to make lists, and I use my calendar a lot to keep track what I've done and what I'm going to do, and these things. And maybe that's why some other people find me, like perceive me as organized, because I write things down and they can see that I create systems. They don't know that I do this because I lack the ability of having this in my head. And also in my job there's a lot of long meetings, and this can be a real challenge for me if it's a long meeting where I'm not expected to contribute actively, where I'm mostly listening. This is very difficult, and one trick I've learned is to take notes. I hate being the one responsible for taking notes in a meeting, like the official notes, because I'm not very good at it. But if I am passive in a meeting, I lose focus very quickly. So what I do is I make some random notes for myself, only to force myself to pay attention and to keep focus. Then I might throw the notes away afterwards. They can be incoherent, they can be incomplete, but just the act of taking notes helps me stay focused during the meeting. One of the most important things that I've learned in my career on how to become better at what I do is to be brave enough to ask for help. I think this is something that we all struggle with to some degree, especially when we're younger. We don't want to be seen as weak or needing help or being incompetent or whatever. And maybe we think that asking for help is a sign of weakness, but I think it's quite the opposite. It's harder to ask for help than to mask and hide your problems. And I think most good bosses will appreciate an employee that's coming to them to ask for help. Maybe I need help prioritizing between tasks. If I ask my boss to help me prioritize, that only means that I care about the job. It means that I want to become better. It means that I want to provide the most value to that business that I'm working in. And that's the boss's job, to make those kinds of decisions. That's what they are there for. So if I am brave enough to ask for help, it only means I care. I care more about delivering value than appearing maybe weak or not independent. And this might not be specific to persons with ADHD, because I think we all struggle with asking for help to some degree. But I think if you have ADHD, you spend a lot of time masking and sort of trying to hide your perceived weaknesses. And maybe there's some shame connected to this, which could make it more difficult for a person with ADHD than for a neurotypical person. So the final question I would like to address in this video is whether my ADHD has made my career harder, or if it has helped. And there's not an easy yes or no answer to this, of course. In many ways it made it harder when I was younger, before my diagnosis, because I struggled with focus, and I struggled with executive function, I struggled with my working memory, and terminating, like finishing projects. I was quite good at getting ideas and starting projects, but not as good at finishing them. And I judge myself quite harshly. I always felt that I should do better at whatever I did in school or at work. And after the diagnosis, I came to higher degree of acceptance that I have these struggles, and there's a logical reason for this. And also that it comes with some benefits, and I learned how to lean into those more. I've noticed that I'm actually quite good at crisis management, for instance. I've noticed that I can be creative, and I notice I'm quite good at solving problems and thinking outside the box and so on. So I kind of leaned into those strengths more. And that has helped me a lot in my career. accepting what I can't change, working with the things that I can change, and also leaning into the stronger sides of being the person that I am. But I've come to the realization that ADHD has not decided my career. Like it is not a deciding factor. I don't think there's any career that is impossible for you or for me just because we have ADHD. I don't think that ADHD alone can prevent somebody from having a career, a successful career. And I don't think there's a specific career that's impossible for a person with ADHD. There might be jobs that are more easier or more difficult, but nothing is impossible. I think it's more about finding something that you're passionate about, something that you care about, something that you want to learn about and become better at, then you will become good at it sooner or later. And with ADHD or without ADHD, it doesn't really decide. But of course, having ADHD means that I need to find a way to navigate this career, and understanding in what way I need to adapt, in what way I function best, in what way do I need to tackle a certain task. Maybe I can't do it in the same way that my colleague does. Maybe I have to find my own way of doing things that suits me, and that's okay. So that's basically the main message of this video, I think, that like ADHD does not decide who I am. It does not decide what career I can or cannot have. But knowing about it and how it functions and how it affects me helps me navigate and finding ways of doing things my own way that works for me. And and that's it. It is not easy, but it is possible. So what's your story? Has your ADHD made it more difficult for you to be successful at your job, or has it helped you in any way? I would like to hear your story in the comments. And if you found any value in this video, please hit that subscribe button, and see you in the next one. Okay, bye.